Hi, it's Maria from Still Dreaming Homestead. Glad you're back with me. I'm going to continue reading today in the story The Hermit of Mad River. This is in the DJ Dillon Adventure Series that I've been reading. I think this might be book number 7. So if you haven't seen the other or heard the other videos I've done, you can go back on the playlist for Stories for the Young at Heart, and you can hear the whole series as far as I've read. That I actually suggest because it gives you a better idea of who DJ is and the whole background of the story as he's growing up in these books. So yesterday, DJ had interviewed some people at the town Yellow Dog. That's the one that's about to be flooded when the dam is filled up. And as he's writing that story, suddenly at night, he goes running out, yelling at Two Mom and his dad, "I know who framed the hermit." So let's continue. Chapter 9, Hero Worsens. DJ hesitated, then plunged ahead. "I know who's trying to frame the hermit." Dad and Two Moms stared silently at DJ and then exchanged glances. Dad cleared his throat and spoke gently but firmly. "DJ, you're getting yourself all worked up over something you really don't know much about." "Dad, I know." "You don't know anything," his dad interrupted. He got up from his chair to face his son, who recoiled in surprise. "DJ, you feel obligated to that old hermit because he saved your dog's life, but you can't really prove the dynamite found in his place was planted there to make him look guilty. It could really be his powder. Dad, if you'll just listen." "David Jonathan Dillon, you've got too wild of an imagination. I don't mind your trying to become a writer, but you've got to stop letting those wild ideas run away with your common sense." DJ was so crushed and hurt he didn't know what to say. He looked into his father's stern blue eyes and he knew it was useless. The boy glanced at his stepmother. She gently shook her head. Dad spoke again. "I know that hermit claimed he heard the rockers at his shack just before he found his old dog killed. But that doesn't mean they planted the dynamite." "Dad, I'm not trying to say—" "That's enough, DJ. Now go back to your room and work on your report for Sunday." The boy ran back into his own room. He closed the door hard and threw himself across his bed. He whispered fiercely as he buried his face in the pillow, "Why won't they listen to me? He doesn't even understand what I'm trying to say." Before he'd become a Christian, Dad Dillon would have slapped DJ for what he'd just done. Dad sometimes still spoke sharply, especially when he was having troubles at work. Right now, DJ knew was a slow time in selling firewood since the season was almost over, and Dad hadn't found a way yet to replace that income. Still, the boy whispered, "Why couldn't he just listened?" After a while, DJ changed into his pajamas and got into bed without praying. He didn't feel like talking to anyone, not even God. DJ closed his eyes, but he couldn't sleep. For hours he lay on his bed, staring unseeingly at the windows. His thoughts were as dismal as the falling rain. He momentarily thought about what he'd say Sunday when Mrs. Stagg called on him in class, and he wasn't prepared. He hadn't been able to think of anything to write. But that was nothing compared to all of his other problems. Would Hero live through his infection? What should DJ do if the sheriff's office didn't do something about the Rockers and their 3 dogs, especially the brindle? What should be done about the clue he'd found at the Hermit's? Would it do any good to tell the sheriff's investigators? No. The only thing I can do is warn the Hermit. But what will happen if the dam blows up before I can warn him? Will it be my fault? He whispered into the soft darkness of his room. Probably will be. So I've got to do something, but what? The sky occasionally exploded with lightning, but so far in the distance, DJ never heard the thunder. The only sound was the steady pouring of the downpour, hour after hour. It was 3 a.m. the last time DJ looked at the red electronic letters on his dresser clock. He closed his eyes again. Finally, he slept fitfully. He didn't awaken at dawn as he usually did. His stepsister's voice awakened DJ, and she was a late sleeper. He sat up in bed, startled to see it was after 8 o'clock. Mom had undoubtedly let him sleep in because it was Easter vacation, but DJ had things to do, important things. He slid out of bed, ignoring the steady beating of the rain against his window. When DJ finished dressing and came out of the bathroom, he heard Dad's car backing out of the garage. DJ entered the kitchen and tried to see Priscilla in the car with Dad. Mom explained that Dad was driving Pris over to spend the day with one of her friends. Then Dad would go to the United States Forest Service to see about permits to cut wood for next winter. DJ nodded absently. I've got to see the Hermit right away. Now, DJ, you're not going to start that up again, are you? The boy blew noisily through his lips. Then how about letting me go see Alfred? In this rain? Mom asked in surprise. She set a bowl in the kitchen table. Whatever for? I've got to talk to him, DJ explained lamely. He didn't intend to go into another discussion like last night. He wished Alfred's parents had a phone. I don't know, DJ, his stepmother said, raising the corner of a lace curtain in the kitchen window. The radio says this morning that the storm has dumped so much water that there have been mud and rock slides on some roads. It's no time to be out. DJ remembered the Hermit's prediction about the hard rain being able to start a monstrous mudslide on the side of Lookout Peak. Still, the boy didn't want to think about that right now. He just wanted to see his best friend. I'll wear my weatherproof pants with the hooded jacket. I'll stay as dry as if I were right here. You hate that rain suit. You won't wear it to school unless I force you. Mom turned to look at her stepson with serious eyes. You really want to go see Alfred that much? Yes, I do, he said quietly. So can I go? May I? Mom corrected him automatically. Well, if it's that important. Thanks, Mom. He turned to rush out of his room, but his stepmother stopped him. But you've got to eat your breakfast first. I'll eat right after I call the vet. He got right through to Dr. Barner. She said, Oh, hello, DJ. I was just going to phone you. Her tone made DJ's heart almost stop. Is Hero okay? The boy asked. That's why I was going to call you. There was no doubt her voice suggested bad news. Dr. Barner paused, then continued with her gentler tone, but her words cut through the boy like a knife. I'm sorry, DJ, but the infection is not responding to the stronger antibiotics. DJ sucked in his breath as though he'd been hit in the stomach. You mean he's worse? Unfortunately, yes, DJ. I have to ask, Do you want Hero put to sleep? It would be totally painless. No! DJ's voice exploded as he interrupted her. No, you keep trying. He'll make it. He couldn't speak anymore because his whole body seemed about to burst. DJ fought back tears that leapt to his eyes. He hung up the receiver and leaned on his forehead against the wall. He closed his eyes against the terrible hurt and sadness. In that pain, DJ forgot about the hermit and what he wanted to warn him about. I can't even go be with Hero, he groaned. He felt two Mom's hands gently touch his left forearm. I'm sorry, she whispered. I can't reach your father, and the Milfords don't have a phone, but I'll phone Brother Paul and see if he could drive you to Indian Springs to see your dog. Wordlessly, DJ nodded as his stepmother lifted the receiver and dialed. A moment later, she gently replaced the instrument. There's no answer. The stags must have all gone someplace. DJ spun away from the wall, his eyes hot with tears of frustration and anger. It's the rockers' fault, and their dogs. Now, DJ, that's enough. You'll feel better after you talked with Alfred. Go get dressed while I make breakfast. Reluctantly, the boy went to his room and dressed warmly in a heavy coat, pants, and boots with waterproof soles. When he re-entered the kitchen, he was totally clothed in waterproof blue rain pants and matching jacket, with a hood hanging down his back. The outfit made a loud rustling noises when he walked. The boy was anxious to be off, but he knew better than to try to leave without breakfast. Reluctantly, he sat into a chair. Two Mom placed a steaming bowl before him. Say the blessing and eat. He started to say, I don't feel like it, but knew that wouldn't please his stepmother. He bowed his head quickly, but he was too angry to pray. He raised his head and ate fast, and stood up thinking of Hero and what the rockers had done to him. As he zipped up his rain jacket, Two Mom asked, Are you all right? I'm okay. His voice was flat, cold, and numb as he was all over. I know how you hurt over your little dog, but your face looks angry. I am angry. I'm plain mad. Those people and their dogs did this to Hero, and nobody's doing a thing about it. He started for the front door. He pulled the hood over his head. A stiff bill stuck out front, making it hard to see well. DJ, don't do anything that your father or I wouldn't approve of. You promised your father. And remember what the Bible says about vengeance. The boy didn't reply. He stepped out into the hard rain and started running. I don't care. I've got to do what I've got to do, he whispered fiercely, and then he remembered and added, but first, I've got to warn the hermit, and fast. Well, that's the end of that chapter. I guess we will find out what happens tomorrow. Well, it's Maria from Still Dreaming Homestead. I want to pray blessings on you and yours, in your house, out of your house, in the day and the night. Whatever you do, keep dreaming. Bye-bye.